Hi, we are here today at Disruptive Conversations with me, Dr. Risa Ryger. I am beyond thrilled, waiting for all of you to come on and for our special guest. And we're seeing Kendria, who's coming on. We're seeing Carlin, okay, Carlin. We're seeing Carly. Carlin's my daughter. Okay, view request. And Yoga Dose has joined, and It's a Sunny Day has joined. Please give us a wave. So great to see you.
I'm here.
And here, so here, hang on one fast second. And hi, I'm Dr. Risa Ryger, and welcome to Disruptive Conversations. I'm an expert in change, and I help people change in their lives at any point in time. We are built for change. Now, the kicker is that change can't happen without disruption. So we need to bring our awareness and make changes and disrupt our behavior, our thoughts, our beliefs, our habits, in order to be able to live in the 10.0 lives that we wish to create and we really want to have in our lives. And that's what this series of conversations is about. And in order to be able to disruption happens in all kinds of ways. So this is how Kendria Godair and I met. We were at a networking event, and I experienced her tremendous energy, her heartfulness, her thoughtfulness. I'm just going to say hi to DJ Critical, and hi, Fernando. Hi, Toldner. Thanks so much for joining us today. And going back to Kendria just had a combination of energy, thoughtfulness, heartfulness, intelligence. She was so expressive, and she came to this event and she really just lived her style and herself, and it came through every single moment. And so Kendria is going to be sharing with us part of her journey, and I think that there's no one better to introduce her than her, because she can share the important parts of who she is before we continue in our conversation together. So Kendria, tell us about yourself.
Yes, so I'm Kendria Godair, and I'm the founder of Dria Dair. So I'll start off by saying right then that a lot of people don't know where the name came from, or they don't know how to say it when they read it, but it's just my name. So it's the end of my first name and the end of my last name, Kendria Godair, and that's how I got the name. I just wanted something that no one else would have. So I started about 10 years ago, and I was 23. So I didn't start seriously or hit it full speed. It was just like kind of something I was dabbling in. And throughout the years, I took it way more seriously. And now even more so. So it's just a women's clothing brand. And I used to have a physical store in North Carolina. And now since COVID happened, everything is just online now, which saves me in overhead. It saves me in trying to find people to run the store and things like that of that nature. And everything is online now anyway. So we just moved with the times.
Well, that is such an important piece. Just right now, this is a takeaway for all of us listening in, which is the importance of the pivot, right? You have an idea, you
Definitely.
have moving forward, you think it's going to go this way, and then boom, life happens. And so we can either sit there wanting what we had in mind to happen, or we can say, hey, this is what's going on now. I've got to pivot. I'm the one who needs to change. How can I maximize this?
Very true. And that's been a common thread, I feel like, throughout my life in general. Your success is going to be on how fast you can pivot and change your expectations, for sure.
All right. So Kendria, our audience is interested in hearing. I'm interested in hearing. I want to know. This conversation is about disruption. And so all of us, we have our beliefs, we have our experiences, our feelings, our habits, our thoughts. And so what is it when you think about it? Because we're in the real here, and what is it when you think about it that you needed to disrupt inside yourself
Yeah.
in order to take the steps that you're taking? Fill us in, please.
So within myself, I had to disrupt my behaviors. So I had to make sure that my behaviors were lining up with what I said I wanted. So I might be working like 2 days a week and expecting this like monumental success. And so I had to make my actions, for one, I had to disrupt my whole way of being and make my actions line up with what I said I wanted. I feel like for everyone that 2020 was a disruption in general. I saw many lives disrupted, mine included. And that was a huge disruption for me and my business, being that I shut it down. And I don't want to take away, obviously, from bad things that happened and people that got sick and, died and et cetera. But it's the ability to take that disruption and try to make it work for you, which is what I did during that time. I took some time off and I pivoted during that time and took that time to let that disruption make something great come from it.
So, here you are, woman. I'm a woman who started my own, my private practice. You started from scratch. I know I started from scratch. So I'm very curious, what is it? What kinds of challenges did you come up with, did faced you and because I am too a petite woman, and because there are all sorts of beliefs that people have about us, but not fit for you. But what did you come up with? What kind of challenges did you face that you needed to figure out how to get through? But, in addition to COVID, which was just massive. Yeah.
I mean, for petite women in general, I feel like it's harder for us because we're taken less seriously. We're seen as children, short like children, and not even a tall woman can at least look a man in the eyes face to face. And that gains them some respect. They're looking eye to eye. We're looking up to you. We're small, we're cute, we're petite. That's already a challenge within itself, so that's definitely, it's not something to gloss over, because being a petite woman does hinder you sometimes with some people, with the wrong people, from being taken seriously. So that is something that I've dealt with my entire life. And, I'm not whining about it. I'm just going to work harder than you, whoever. Just going to work harder and make up for that, as far as that goes.
Yeah. I mean, because that's very powerful, which is that we have our own beliefs, and we also come up to the beliefs that other people have. And we form beliefs like this, like in a second. We may not hold on to them, but we form them, right? And so what is it that you needed to connect with you in terms of your determination or power, whatever it may be, able to bring your strength and seriousness to the fore?
So I think, it's always nature versus nurture. Like, some of us just have a stronger personality in general and more confident, and we're more assertive in general, but there's still going to be plenty of obstacles in the way. Like, for me, I thought that I was born in North Carolina, raised there. I was there until I was 30. So it was almost like I didn't consider that I had an option to move somewhere else that suited my needs, suited my business. And I was just used to that environment. And that was almost like a limiting belief that I had, was that I was going to live and die here, and that I needed the acceptance from not peers, but just other people. And then just realizing that I don't even want to be like these people. Why would I need their approval? Why would I need their acceptance? I'm my own person. I have an idea of what I want to be, and I don't really see anyone doing it anyway. So I don't have to stay here. I don't need the approval of people that I don't even look up to in the first place. And it can't understand me or can't support who I am or support me fully in that. So moving was like a huge disruption with COVID. Then I moved. It was a huge disruption, and one that I almost didn't even realize was an option to me until COVID happened. And then I was like, oh my God, I can leave. Like, I don't have to stay. You know what I mean? So there were several things, of course, that led up to that disruption. But I think that 2020, that COVID, and things like that just made it happen quicker for me. It made me dive in fully and say, what do I have to lose?
So I just want to take a minute and say hi to Wishing on a Star and to Thunder Forge and to LMBS 2025, and Odie Truck joined us also. So welcome everyone. This is great to have you here, and you're going to be happy that you came to listen to what Kendria is telling us about in her journey. And so you had to deal with the obstacle of like coming to clarity about moving, that you didn't have to stay put where you were. You could make that change. You came up with people who were like putting their beliefs about you onto you without even knowing you yet. Mm-hmm. And finding your own seriousness, finding what I call, our internal gravitas. Like, we're people that need to be taken seriously. And that you don't have to be a screamer about that, right? You don't. Mm-hmm. Screamer. I think that one of the things that's so important is to really get in touch with what you're great at, and what you feel like your, the term is used now, what you feel like your superpower is. What do you think is your expertise? And so my question to you, as we have this conversation and it's organic and the questions are coming from what we're talking about, is what is it that you figured out was your special spot, unique to you?
Well, I mean, I think one of my superpowers is connecting with people the way we connected.
Yeah.
Even in New York, just from the audience, I am committed to being exactly who I am and not changing that for anyone. If I feel I need to change something within myself, for sure, we're going to pivot. We're going to change it. We're going to take all the steps that are needed. But I'm not going to change who I am because people think that I need to change. So like, even when I was up there talking in New York, just like talking to the audience, like I would talk to you, like I would talk to my friends, and saying real things and not being afraid of the repercussions from that, not being afraid that I'm going to mess it up. I'm for sure going to say like 20 times. Okay. That is what I know about me. I have filler words. This is not going to be perfect. It's not going to be glossy. It's going to be a rough take every time, because I'm just going to talk to people like I talk to you. So I think connecting with people, I don't know if it's my superpower, but it is what I love to do. Yeah. I for sure love it. And even you coming up to me and talking to me after I spoke, the highlight of my night, us having a real connection after I felt like I spoke from my heart.
It's it's so important that we really take a look in and own ourselves. We need to own ourselves. And one of the things, just to share with our audience, and you joined us, and Brown Girl in New York City, hey, hi, you joined us. That one of the things that we talked about is that we are ands, meaning that I know you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, you're a mom, you're a daughter, like that. We are our ands. And it's not like we just do one thing and we forget everything else about who we are. We take who we are with us where we go. And
definitely.
Could you just speak a little bit about that, about how you carry that and what that is like for you?
Look, this has been an interesting week alone carrying that. So like I said in New York, I feel like it should be called like the pursuit of balance, because balancing all these ands, who we are, is never perfect. It is so hard. It's most of what I'm doing all day is figuring out how I'm going to work, balance my kids, make sure they get their homework done and they're fed, and the house is still a mess most of the time. And so, balancing that is never it's never perfect, but like in New York, I spoke about, and I think that's also what resonated with people, is that to even get to go to New York, I had to bring my daughter with me. So I had to talk to the school. I had to like get her work. There was just tons of things that I had to do to even make that happen. And the only way I could make that happen was by bringing her with me and having her all week. So we were there from Sunday to the event, and I tried to balance that by taking her out to do fun things and us spending close time together, and it feeling like we came to New York for her, for our experience, and that my experience outside of that was just a few hours that night, and she was in the room waiting on me, watching her tablet. And as far as like a real life example of how I balance it, that's how.
You bring up an important word that I want to address. And also Scott Rivers, 74, thanks for coming. And JK Cinema, thanks for coming. Basshead 23, welcome. We're thrilled to have you. So Kendria was talking about bringing her daughter with her to New York to go to this event where she just totally rocked it, and in her authenticity, and you feel it when someone's really being who they are, because they don't have to go into spaces that really don't work for them. You're with you own it, and you go with that. And the word that you've been bringing up that I want to just kind of highlight is the word perfect. And perfect is this word that gets rolled around, but in fact, unless you want to get into like the philosophical, the perfection of imperfection, perfect really doesn't exist
At all.
And it's the space where we may have a notion about it, but that's a myth. That perfect exists is mythology, and it becomes can be a place of suffering, the place where we can start to feel inadequate, not enough. We think that there's a better way of doing it. But what if you're really doing it the way that it can be done? And that's a piece of reality, so that you had this perfect time, you had this wonderful time with your daughter, you bridged your ands, right? So that you could be.
I did my best.
Yeah, you did, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm just keeping a little track here, because there's a question that I really do want to ask you, because you have been so disruptive to help you get to where you are now. You disrupted your moving, and I'm clarifying this because these are points that we can all think about. Now, moving is huge, but every day we can move the needle a little bit inside of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what every day. So as you're listening to this and you're hearing about all of the changes and the pivoting that Kendra made, that didn't come all at once. It was incremental. So think about, like, what is something that you can do that's actionable and doable, and commit to yourself today. And this is what part of what I'm all about, is really being an expert in change, that you have to change. So Kendria, going and
yeah.
Kendria, oh, I knew I was going to do that.
Okay.
I knew I
was okay.
Sorry. And this is part of what the sisterhood is about forgiveness. If nobody knows about mispronouncing a name, it's me who's mispronounced all the time.
Lisa with an R.
So exactly. Yeah. What is the next disruption for you?
Oh my goodness. I've got to think. I mean, I really think I'm disrupting right now. Like, as we talk, I am disrupting some things, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to talk about it until it's happened, to be really honest. I think I want to get even more one-on-one and closer, like we're doing now, with women, and see what their obstacles are, and maybe get more personal with that, and make sure that we are being served, like in all of our communities, that we are being taken seriously, that we are being respected, our time, our energy, our money, our anything like that. That's a part of what I'm disrupting right now. Like, I feel like I am in my own community, and I'm committed to that. On another level, one thing that I want to do is make sure that I'm hitting all the points. So, like, I had some health issues a couple years ago. And so that was a space that I needed to disrupt. Something was going wrong. So I had to create a disruption there. And it's just about picking what that is and sticking to it. So I said I wanted my health to be better, but am I backing that up with what I'm eating, how I'm working out, deep breathing and breath work and committing to that, the reading the books, the filling out, the journal, whatever, disrupting our own way of life, our lifestyle on a day-to-day basis, because you just are what you do over and over. You're not what you do one time, really, if we're honest. You're what you repeatedly do.
Yep.
So like for me to disrupt everything, I had to disrupt the type of people I dated previously. I had to disrupt the friendships that I was accumulating, the friendships I was entertaining. And I had to disrupt that and let go whatever couldn't go into my next phase with me. I mean, I had to disrupt my health, and we talked about my location.
Yeah.
So I had a huge disruption all the way around. All of these things got disrupted for me to become not the new me, but the pivoted version of me, the version that I see, the version that I want to be in the future. I had to disrupt almost every area of my life to bring that together.
So, Kendria, believe it or not, we have run out of time. I want to thank you. I want to thank you.
Thank you.
First guest in the first episode of Disruptive Conversations with Dr. Risa Ryger. And I want to again thank Kendria Godair for being this brave woman to come on and try this out with me. Kendria, this is our first conversation. Our conversation will be continued.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you so much for being on.
Thank you so much for trusting me with this. I appreciate you so much, and the connection. I appreciate it.
Be continued. And to everyone, just to wrap up for today, we're going to see you next week. And my guest next week is going to be Kelly Hughes. And we're going to be continuing in this conversation. And remember, and this is the truth, that positive change can happen at any time. See you next time.
Did you hit the X?
Yes.
Did you hit end now? Did you hit the X?
No, I'm